Thanks so much for coming through, Angela. I'm up in here. I didn't even send out my reminders like I normally do. So, yeah. I appreciate you showing up. So, what's good in the hood? Woo! I'm hoping, Angela, if you're still with me, can you tell me, please, if my audio is popping? I was doing some tests, right before I came on. So, just holla at your girl and let me know if that audio is all right. I think it's just the whatever I was using on my phone. So I'm hoping that it's okay now. What's this thing looking like? So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about why the people in your life are haters and don't want you to succeed. Hey, Stacey Ann, thanks for coming through, girl. I really want to hear from y'all because I can't hear this to see if my audio is popping. Stacey Ann, can you tell me if my audio is popping, please? Pop, 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 pop. I was so distraught. I was so hurt in a lot of ways when I went back and listened to some of my audio. All right. Well, I guess I'll just go blindly in faith. All right, so let's get started then. It sounds good. Okay, cool. Thank you. There's just like a delay, so that takes forever for me. Why your friends and family don't support you. So let's start at the very beginning with the fact that you need support. And oftentimes for Black women, for us, it is a difficult thing to embrace because in a lot of ways, I don't think that we are used to being supported, right? And so you are at this place where you are creating something from your heart. You are making your love offering to the world. And it's all kind of jumbled in together, right? This thing that you are creating and it being its own entity, it being its own brand. So when you present it, there's this thing. It's like Erica Badu says, like, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my ish, right? So while it is a part of you, it is not you. And if you are not used to making that separation, it is easy to get things twisted to say they're rejecting me. They're not supporting me, which is true in a sense, but not true in totality. It's only part, right? I'm wearing headphones, so I'm not sure if that makes a difference. Hey, Angela. Hey, girl. So taking that step back to say, yes, I've created this thing. I'm putting it out there in the streets for people to pick it up or not. And there's this vulnerability that happens there, right? You're saying, I'm putting a piece of myself. This is something I'm really hype about. This is something that's really important to me. This is something that means something to me. And it would be everything if the people who are closest to me could like it, could share it, could send it to their stories, could tell their little friends about it, could support me like they support Beyonce, whom they don't even know, whom she doesn't even know they exist. That is another thing, right? Is how people feed into celebrity. So let's get to it. First of all, it's important to have that separation between what you are offering and who you are as a person and not taking it personally. You can only do that by, when you're putting it out there, saying consciously to yourself, I am putting this out there for the people who it's made for to find. They're going to find this thing that I've created, this service, this product. They're going to love it. They're going to be all about me and my energy and who I am and whatever it is that I'm offering. And anything else I'm consciously not going to pay attention to, because that's low vibes. If you're worried about who's not on the boat, how are you going to concentrate on serving the people on the boat to get to where you're going? Harriet Tubman, there's the quote, who knows if it's true or not? You know how people be lying through history. They lied on MLK too. But there's this quote she has, like, I could have saved so many more if they had known they were enslaved. And it's like, girl, yeah. We have this idea that it's like when you're excited about something, if there's a drink you really like, if there's a food you really like, you're crazy about this chocolate from Guatemala or whatever, wherever, and you're like, you have got to try this chocolate, and somebody's like, I don't like chocolate, and you just like, how can you not like chocolate? Like, chocolate is about this is it melts in your mouth, right? And so the things we are wild about, you have to understand too that like other people just aren't. And that's fine because they're not in the boat. So you ain't got to worry about them. What a relief, right? What a relief. I don't have to worry about these folks who are not in the boat. I don't have to try to convince them to get in the boat. I don't have to think about what to feed them because they're not in the boat. I just have to worry about the folks who are in the boat. And so that is how you take care of yourself before you get to how you manage anybody else out there in the world. That's inward facing. We're talking about how you manage your own feelings, how you manage your own expectations, how you manage your own experience of being a creator with your product and your service before you even get to the point where you're dealing with them other folks. Consciously saying, this is a part of me. This is not me in my totality. I'm not taking this personally. I'm just focused on doing what I need to do in order to get where I'm trying to go, and enjoying the experience along the way as much as possible, because some of it is irritating, quite frankly. Right? So very much that. Focus on your curating your own experience in that sense. Make sure you are taking care of home. Make sure you are taking care of yourself and listening to the people who are into it. So if you're getting feedback from them, soliciting feedback with them, developing a relationship with the people in the boat. It just takes one person to come into the boat, and then maybe it's 2 and 3 and 4, and talking to them about what it is that matters to them and how you can create something that reaches to meet them in that place. And perhaps it speaks to a larger audience. And like, you'll never know that until you keep going and you keep trying and you keep testing things, right? Because we have an idea about what will work. We don't know what's actually going to work. You keep testing things, keep reaching out, and just see what floats. And hopefully it's you and everybody in the boat that's with you. And I think it really helps. This is a great exercise because everything is thought. These ideas that we have in our mind are so powerful. If you consciously create some ideas, it can help you get to the real thing. And so that's why they talk about visualization, right? The world you have in your mind is so real. And that's why our fears have such a hold over us, because we believe that they're real. We're feeding into them. What if this happens? And what if that doesn't happen? And that. So when we're doing that, we're creating that false visualization, or like that not good, feeling good visualization. What if you consciously created a better visualization? When we're in the boat, like, it's going to smell like open, fresh air. It's going to feel like sunshine on our skin. It's going to feel like community. It's going to feel like healing. It's going to feel like presence. It's going to feel like us being able to relate to one another and uplift one another. It's going to feel like progress. It's going to feel like wholeness. Like, really feed into that. I was talking to this lady for the podcast. I'm really excited for you to hear the episode. Her name is Yumi. She created this brand called Flex and Fly. And I asked her about self-care, because, I ask everybody else about self-care. And she was saying that she speaks over her life. And that's very much that. Speaking over your life in that kind of way where you are focused on what you want to bring and being excited about that feeling, hyping yourself up to say, wow, I'm really excited to create this experience for these people through this product or this service. And this is what it's going to be like, or this is what it already is like in my mind. So managing yourself, managing your own mental health, your grooming, all of that good stuff on a day-to-day basis. This isn't like a once a month kind of thing at all. So that's where you start. You're going to need support. And in order for you to make that separation between you and the brand, you have to cultivate that kind of good hygiene when it comes to how you see yourself. And it's so important to see yourself before you consider how other people see you from the outside in. So seeing yourself from the inside out, you're the only one who knows what you've been through. You're the only one who can really gauge the kind of progress that you've been able to make. You're the only one who can relate. The person who made the decisions when they made those decisions is likely not the person you are today right now. And it's so important to recognize that. It's so important to see yourself. And a lot of times we're so hard on ourselves that we don't see ourselves accurately. You don't remember all of the things that you've been through and the state of mind that you were in when you were going through those things. So seeing yourself before anybody else sees you, top notch. I mean, come on. That's the bubbles, right? Not bubble guts, but like champagne. Sorry. That's the celebration, right? Seeing yourself. So that's super important. So with that in mind, now we can deal with how the world sees us or how we think the world sees us. Because often, like even when we do get compliments, ladies, sometimes they just go right over, yeah, but that font was funky, or the color scheme was off, or I had technical difficulties before I got here. All the stuff that you go through in order to put the product or the service out, you see that before you'll hear the praise. You'll see that before you'll remember all of the excellent, wonderful, beautiful, heartwarming feedback that you actually get from people. And it's coming in several different ways. It may not be one person consistently boosting you, but it could be like one message from that person. It could be another message from another person. I have a practice of like screenshotting stuff or just otherwise like trying to save stuff so that I can remember like there is an actual impact. Also important to note is that with a product or service, depending on what your product or service is, it can be hard to gauge impact. I think a lot of us deal with heart work. A lot of us deal with soul work. And how do you gauge improving a person's day-to-day experience, right? When it comes to deliverables, if you're looking at it from a business point of view, how do you gauge that? It's difficult, right? You have somebody that tells you that I took this class and it made me feel so much better. And because their journey is not over, right? They still got to go back and do the work. They still have to go through the ebb and the flow of the process. It's often a bit more difficult to be able to see like a lasting something, right? It's also like not financial. Like if you're a financial coach, it's just like, okay, you started with this amount in your bank and you've been working with me for 3 months and now you have this amount in your bank. Good job. It's not so cut and dry. And so that also feeds into seeing yourself and hearing what other people are saying and taking that as encouragement to continue to develop and seeing if you're making the impact you want to make with the amount of people you want to make the impact with, or the depth of impact that you also want to make. That's really important. So that's important to receive, the feedback that you're getting in the ways that you're getting it. It could be a DM, it could be a comment on your Facebook page or on your Instagram post or on your YouTube video, like whatever that looks like. Make sure you're taking that into account. You may not get feedback on the other end unless you directly solicit it. Like, oh, like how was your experience? How could I improve? But like not even getting too swept away by that because you're dealing with people. You don't know exactly where that person is in their life to where they would say the things that they said, to why they received the thing, your product or your service, the way they're receiving it. So just taking it with a grain of salt. because the feedback is important if it is a pattern and several people are experiencing your product and your service in that way. And so make sure you iterate, switch it up, do what you got to do to hit the sweet spot, right? So since we are needing of support, we think often, like I was saying before, it's simple. Like, you've known me since high school. What does it mean to you to like my post, to like my Facebook page, to follow me on Instagram, to share my work? And actually, it means a lot. So let's talk about it. So first of all, I do not believe that a lot of people have gone through their work to show up. I think that's why they want to idolize Beyonce, because she's done her work and she showed up and she's so fabulous and she has her choreography and she has a whole team and she has bees making honey or whatever. It's so strange to me. Like, I saw a post on social media like, man, I wish I could buy some of Beyonce's honey. Like, I just want everything she's ever created kind of vibe. And it's just like, you would rather idolize someone. You would rather put them on a pedestal, project who you think they are onto them. That's where they come in with the fandom, right? The stands, where they're consuming everything, not just the music, not just the videos, but whatever she puts out on social media, zooming in on the pictures to see what her face is, interpreting her body language, however that looks, bringing up old videos of when she was in Destiny's Child, all of that stuff. You would rather feed into all of that than go sit with yourself and be who you're becoming. You would rather put your energy and attention outward in that kind of way than think that you're really dope and you're really cool and create something from your very marrow. And that's deep. So let's start there. You're doing something that they are not brave enough to do, that they just will not figure out. They probably won't ever, maybe, possibly. I mean, they might, who knows? But so for you to say, hey, I'm doing this thing, I don't know that they know how much work goes into it. I don't know how much they know how much of yourself you had to move up out the way in order to put this thing out into the world. How much of yourself you had to listen to and feed into and encourage and like all that good stuff in order to actually have something, right? A website or a shopping cart or whatever it looks like, a price list. They do not know all the stuff that you had to go through in order to present anything whatsoever, put together a Patreon. They don't know what it's like to go through that process. They've never done it. And so for you to say, man, I'm doing all this work, it would be dope if you could just do that little bit. And like, it's just over their head because they have no idea. They might have like a small notion, maybe, but most people just kind of live in their own worlds. They're just trying to get to their next show to binge or the next piece of gossip, whatever's going on at the office, or complaining about whatever it is they usually complain about. So they're not there. Why I would love to change that culture is that we know that the system is rigged. Social media is a game of algorithms. It is a game of computers seeing what's hot and feeding into what's hot, because the computers want you, the platforms want you to stay on the platform. And so they're going to feed into whatever's hot. So you're saying, and this is a thing that a lot of creators say, your friends and your family, they're not your target market anyway. You shouldn't be complaining about this and that. It matters. It matters. Maybe you don't want it to matter, but it matters because it helps with visibility. And it's not just your friends and family. It's the ladies who are in your same lane. It's the ladies who are shoulder to shoulder with you, trying to get their work in too. And they hardly ever show up, I think, often because they're just tunnel vision, trying to get their offering out. So they're not really trying to give anybody else any shine, which, that doesn't work. Not for real. Um, so it matters. It matters every single like, every single share, every single save, every single whatever these platforms want you to do these days. It matters. It is a signal to the algorithm that somebody out there in the world cares about this and I should boost this content. So if the people in your life don't realize that it matters, like, how do you change that culture? So there's this thing on Twitter, specifically on Twitter. I haven't really seen it anywhere else, where all kinds of creators, you got the lashes girl, the nails girls, you have artists, doing drawings, you have lingerie, the whipped shea butters, all of that. You have these creators who will put in their tweet, it costs $0 to retweet this. Or they'll say something like, please retweet this. My next customer could be on your timeline, or something like that. And it seems like that seems to work fairly often. So it's an ask. Like, even with like GoFundMe's and stuff, there's so many GoFundMe's, so many people are going through it and need financial support. And a lot of times they will say, even if you can't donate, a retweet will help, because it's about visibility. Maybe you may not be the one, but the next person could be. Maybe they got $5 to spare, or, maybe they want some whipped shea butter or some new lashes or whatever. So that is a way that I've seen, and I've only really seen that on Twitter. When it comes to Instagram specifically, like, I'll see someone say, share, save this post, because Instagram often tells you like what they're prioritizing. Likes are out. Likes aren't as important as someone saving the post, as someone sharing the post, sending it to their friends or sending it to their stories, as well as commenting, having people comment on the post. So that's why you will see on these posts people asking you directly to do those things, whether you do them or not. That's because, like, when we're scrolling, a lot of times we're not thinking about empowering and uplifting. We're scrolling because we're trying to get entertained. We're scrolling because we're looking for inspiration. We're scrolling for this or that. And so sometimes, like, even as we engage, we don't think about the ways that we can support these people who have put all their work in to show up and to talk about whatever it is they got to talk about. So it's a culture thing. It's an education thing, where you are trying to inform people in the best ways to support you. There's this saying that, how does it go? It is that familiarity breeds contempt. So, like, I was using Beyonce as an example. Y'all don't know that lady. She has kept her life super private on purpose. And so that gives you all the bandwidth to project, to make up these stories, to interpret, to, do whatever you got to do, versus the person, who's right next to you. You've seen them in the flesh, probably. So, like, who they are and what they're about. And maybe there's stuff you don't like about them. And if there's stuff you don't like about them, then it's easier for you to not support them. It's easier for you to overlook them, versus these complete strangers who have no idea you exist. Some of these stands, man, especially, okay, Nicki Minaj, let's talk about that. That's been a thing recently. She is saying some stuff. It got her fans in Atlanta to go and protest at the CDC because they rock with her like that. It's deep. So I don't think that we want those kinds of fans. I think the type of people who are into the stuff I talk about, I think we typically want people who have their own minds, right? Who can make their own decisions and not necessarily follow everything that we say. So it's not something that we necessarily aspire to, but it does show like the other side of that. There seems to be like a tipping point when you show up as a creator with your product or your service. and you start to see trolls, which maybe you didn't see them before. You see support, I think, in the comments or whatever, but you also start to see trolls because you are visible, because you have put yourself out there to have people find you. Like, not everybody who finds you is going to be about you. Not everybody who finds you is going to dig on everything that you do. And so they feel the need to share that for some reason. They call them keyboard cowboys, right? Got Twitter fingers or whatever. So yeah, that's just, it's an interesting part of the whole deal. So, I mean, that's what I would say in terms of, if you want your friends and family to support you, if you understand the necessity of getting more eyeballs on your content, on your products and your services, then that is a conversation I think that is worth having. Like, hey, you love me. This is something that I'm doing out of love. Look at all this love here, girl. So anyway, it would be really dope if you could go ahead and save my post. Go ahead and shoot my post to your stories every now and then. I would feel so loved. I would love for you to love me like that, in that way. That would be dope. But it's also something you could do with the community that you're building around your products and your services, the followers, the fans that you are meeting on social media. For example, right now, I'll ask you, if you have not subscribed to the channel, could you please subscribe to the channel? That would be amazing. If you have found anything that I've said, any type of relevant in your life, it'd be dope if you hit that share button, copy that link, go off to where you go off to, and hit paste and say, hey, I was watching this and it was really dope. Check it out. Simple as that. I think the more that we do that for each other, I think the more that we see ourselves and what we're going through, but also see others. When you harness the power of the collective, it is so powerful. The power of the collective is like a tidal wave, I think. There are often these pods, I think is what they call them, or they used to, where you have a group of people, and maybe it's on Instagram or wherever, but they say, okay, we're going to create a group here, and every time one of you has a post, then let us know, and then we'll go and interact with the post. And this has been years. Like, people have been doing this for years. I don't know that they always work, and I think it's because people don't necessarily care about other people. So, like, eventually they're going to fall off. There's not a genuine interest in each other's work. You know how you are when it's somebody whose stuff you're just interested in. That's why people, stay up late waiting for the music to drop. That's why people hang on for hours at the versus battles, for hours, just watching, totally engaged, letting the comments fly. When you watch those versus battles, or like anybody who has any type of following, a celebrity or whatever, like on Instagram or wherever, those comments fly. So many comments that the person probably will never see. But these people are so excited. And that's the difference, is that we're not fans of each other. So I think this comes with education. First, let's take it all the way back. First, affirming yourself, taking care of home, taking care of yourself, and then creating an environment and getting an agreement, instead of thinking that is understood or it's known, like, you know what it is, you see me, I know what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. Like, making it more intentional and more of a conversation and an agreement between people to be like, we are going to actually support each other, especially like as we start getting sponsors and stuff, ad placements, and they're looking for engagement on that post. And it's not, yes, sis, you laid to the side, like whatever. It's not necessarily, not that it can't be that, because like maybe that's the person's, whole deal or whatever, but maybe, just maybe something else. I don't know. But I mean, that's really important too, is like, when you see those sponsored ads coming through on the timeline and it's somebody that, you mess with, then it's important to engage in that kind of way, because you would want the same thing for you, right? Let me check in with y'all. Hey, Jenny, Miss Supreme Sovereign. Tynesha. My mama always supports me. Come on. She better sign up on your Patreon. That's what I'm talking about. What it do, Deep G? Good morning. Just realized I'm not following Wanda on IG. Fixed it. You're so sweet. I love that idea of the pods. I wasn't either. Angela started following. Y'all are all right. But yeah. But like I said, I think the pods only work when you're genuinely interested in what the other person has going on. Do you see somebody on live and do you have the time? Pop it up. I may be working on something. I may not be like totally tuned in, but like, I think it's just nice to send that kind of energy, send that type of attention to someone that I care about. I'm not always great at this. There was a point, so this has been my journey. There was a point when that's all I did. I'm sending everybody to the stories. Like, I'm retweeting everything. I'm sharing everything to my Facebook feed. Like, whatever it looked like, I'm just share. And honestly, I just got shared out. And I started thinking about how much I shrink myself in a way. And that's why I started doing these YouTube lives, is because I was like, these people don't actually know me. I've talked a little bit about this before. I've been doing the podcast for like 2 years, episode every week. And I thought that people would know me by my questions, by how I steer the conversation, by the kind of conversations that I'm having that no one that I know of. Well, that's not true. There are some other podcasts. They're just maybe not travel centric, but are asking these kinds of questions to us. And so that's not what happened though. Like, at least not in my mind. And I don't even know that these YouTube lives necessarily help, but I think maybe it's a nudge in the right direction of me just showing more of who I am. You hearing it straight from my mouth instead of through a guest's mouth. And so I stopped sharing a lot of stuff in order to give myself the spotlight, really. But that's not where I want to stay, because that's not even what I believe in. There was another guest that I had, Sakita Holly from the Sakita Method, and she talked about not wanting to be in the spotlight because the work was never about her. And I think that's true in a way. Like, the work is never about us. It is about the results. It's about how people feel in the work that we do and the effects that they have in these people's lives. But it is about us in the way that, like, nobody else is going to do this. Nobody else is going to do the thing specifically that you're going to do in the way that you're going to do it. And I just don't care. In the history of time, in the history of time, look at all these people and all their histories and all their personal history and what they have chosen to create in the world. And you have biters, and like, you can always tell the biters, they never embody the thing like the person that originally created whatever it is, right? So it's super important, and that is part of seeing ourselves. It's super important to say, yes, me. Not just why not me, but like, yeah, me. I'm doing it. And this is the dope impact that I'm able to have because I'm doing it. So I think that when you link with other people consciously, and it could be just as simple as an invitation, like, girl, you know how these algorithms are, let's support one another in this kind of way. Maybe we check in once a week. Like, I don't know what it looks like. It could look a million different ways, but let's support each other and help each other to show our love offerings to ourselves and to the world, and being able to engage in earnest, where we're able. Sometimes we be tired. Like, girl, I don't know what to say in this comment. So you just like leave an emoji, which I don't think that's the best, but maybe that's what you had at that moment in time. So yes. Also, I haven't mentioned this at all, but jealousy. Hello. Okay. So I talked about like maybe your friends and family haven't done the work to put anything out. They just maybe had their jobs. Maybe they've been in survival mode. Maybe they blah, 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 blah. They might just straight up be jealous. And that is why they have you on mute. They probably don't even see your stuff ever. That is a possibility out there in the world. Or if they do see it, they see it and are jealous and they keep scrolling. So jealousy is also a thing. And that could also be not just with friends and family, but the people who are shoulder to shoulder with you. Oh, she's doing that. And then it makes you feel some kind of way because maybe you haven't done enough work on yourself to say, can't nobody do it like I'm going to do it, right? Can't nobody be me. So I applaud her. I think the more you celebrate, or try to anyway, the more you celebrate other people, first celebrate yourself. Hello. Tanisha just had a big celebration, I'm sure, because she just lost her Patreon. Tanisha Matthews, patreon.com/Tanisha Matthews. Holla at her. But celebrating yourself, loving yourself, seeing yourself and saying, wow, she is really dope. She is doing this. I'm inspired to come back to my own thing. It's a constant conversation with yourself to make sure you are operating from a healthy place. And I think that is what will help all of us to elevate. That's mostly what I got to say about that, I think. I've been thinking about ways to engage the collective. I think maybe I'm in my cocoon phase, I guess, where I'm just kind of like focused on myself and using my voice and whatever, trying to pop out. So in my butterfly phase, which I want to come up soon, because it's cozy in here, but I'm ready for a little change. It's been a month, almost 2 months now, which time is irrelevant. But anyway, I had this idea that I want to do a share series. So look out for that super soon. It's going to be on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook, it really is just a bit harder to share because it is based on friends. So discovering content from other places, unless it's like a page, like you really have to follow. So you have to be friends with somebody or follow a page in order to see content, and like not even all the time. That algorithm is just really hard there. But maybe on Instagram, definitely Twitter, because it's real time. Instagram's not real time anymore. But I'm going to start a share series. So I already have like a little mock-up. I just need to prioritize it to have you give me the information that I need in order to share whatever it is you want to share, your product, your service. So I think it'll happen maybe like every Saturday, at least for a while, or maybe every other, because every Saturday sound kind of Tanisha, what you say? Woo woo, thank you. You're welcome, girl. If anybody else, please in the comments, right? Because this is about support. We're here to support each other. Please in the comments, if you have a website, if you have your Instagram, if you have your Patreon, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, whatever it is, if you would like to invite others to support you, then go ahead and pop that in the comments so that, y'all already talk to each other anyway. Y'all know each other. So might as well make sure you're hooked up in the internet streets. But definitely look out for that soon. I'm going to figure out if it's every week or every other week, but this is September. So for sure by, September. Not in September 18th, and I'm saying in September. For sure by October. Maybe October 2nd will be the first Saturday. Maybe it should be a Sunday, though. But anyway, it's going to be one of them days. probably a weekend where I think maybe you'll have more visibility because maybe people are scrolling more. But I would love to give you an opportunity to use what little following I have to get more eyeballs on your stuff. I would love for us to explore more ways to support one another. There's also this thing in the travel space, and it's pretty recent. Like I said, I just feel like a lot of people have the tunnel vision. They're building their own thing, which I totally get. Maybe they're cocooning too, right? Um, I have an idea for an event, and maybe it'll be next year, but I'm calling it Convergence. And I already have that completely mocked up. So it's called Convergence, and I want to be able to have people come and tour the different branches because a lot of us are divided by the angle. Are you a sabbatical girl? Are you a travel finance girl? Are you a group travel girl? Are you a solo travel girl? Like, so it's all super segregated. And I would love for us to have like kind of a fair, I guess you could say. It'll more than likely be virtual too, but yes, convergence where you could just hop around and hear from all these the Black Set girls as well. You could hear from these people who have been building communities and making all these connections and just see how big we are. We're so ginormous. I don't even think we know how big we are. There are a lot of girls who are not connected with any of these communities. Maybe they're just on YouTube, not just on YouTube, but like mainly on YouTube. So they're not even attached to any communities. They just have their own brands and they out there in the streets doing a thizzle. So it would just be nice. You know, I'm a gatherer. I like getting people together now. So I think it'd be really interesting. Um, but yeah, did you have any cuestiones about preguntas about support and asking for it? I think sometimes it's difficult to ask. Like I think there's that assume like you know me. Like why wouldn't you? No, sometimes you gotta ask people directly. People just they just be off on Jupiter, child, doing whatever they're doing. So I think it's just better to honor yourself and honor them and honor the relationship and just say, hey, I would love for you to follow me. I would love for you to share this whenever you see it. That would be amazing. Not just on a birthday. Side note, it's super funny to me in death and in life, like birthdays, where people share a photo, but it's always them in the photo with the person versus it just being the person. I don't know. That's weird to me. That was just a side note. So speaking of support, how am I supporting you? And okay. But yeah, if you have any questions about stuff or you have stuff to say, I'm interested in that. I think that's the main gist of it. Make sure you're taking care of home. Ask your people and maybe consciously create systems, an ecosystem of support, possibly with like-minded people. Something else I didn't talk about was collaboration. That's always dope. And, maybe make it more meaningful, not just come over here, do this, and then we never talk again. Is that collaboration? I mean, in a sense. I don't know why. I need to explore that. Why are we so full? I mean, I guess I know why we so full. It's a lot, historically speaking, as Black women, to be able to present yourself in this way. You're doing, we're doing so much work. The inner work, the generational work, the actual building of a brand work, stumbling through that, figuring it out day by day, and feeling not good sometimes about the stuff that we put out and having to force ourselves to, keep showing up. And so, I mean, maybe it's that we're so full with this process that we don't often make space to be in real community with others who are doing the same kind of thing. Maybe that's what it is. I'm interested to know. Or, too, like everybody ain't for everybody. So sometimes, like, some people's energy you just don't like, which is perfectly like what it is. I mean, I guess it always says more about us than the other person because whatever. But yeah, that is interesting. So, yeah, girl. Well, yes, collaboration over competition. I mean, but like, what does that actually look like though? I'm down with collabing, but like, what does that really look like? A barrier for me, not necessarily, well, I guess it is collaboration in a sense, but a barrier for me is like I've always wanted to pay folks. So, like last year when I did the International Black Women Travel Jubilee, my speakers were paid. That was known up front. I was never going to ask a Black woman to work for free. And I just see a lot of messaging anyway, online about pay Black women. And I also know from personal experience, like what it's like to ask for your worth and wanting people to see your worth. So when it comes to the stuff that I do, I always feel like, and maybe this is faulty, I need to examine this, but I always feel like if I can't pay you, like I'm not asking you to work for free. And I know that other businesses, like even other businesses have interns that don't get paid. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's ethical or sustainable. Imagine asking someone to work for free and them showing up with their best ideas, with their biggest energy, with their attention and their focus, and not being compensated. And it's just like, but you're in the room. And I just feel really, I feel a way about that. So, like, I would love to have moderators in the group. I would love to do a lot of stuff, but like, I want to be able to pay folks, and I'm barely paying myself, So like that has been a hindrance for me. So maybe, I don't know, something words. I gotta think about that one. But yeah, I'm thinking about like what collaboration really looks like. I guess it's all kinds of collaboration. It doesn't have to be long term or in depth. It can be like just one off. But yeah. What it do, G said, I have a daily battle with myself on what I'm creating and then end up not being as consistent as I'd like. It's also that I don't have anyone to chat with about it. So, hey girl. um, we have a bi-weekly, so twice a month, co-working session. And for us, that means that we get together and talk about our businesses essentially. So we were doing it on Thursdays. I think maybe I need to move that to the weekends because I think a lot of the ladies are still working day jobs. So maybe I need to make it more accessible. But it's kind of business therapy in a way because you get to say out loud the stuff that's just been banging around in your head that you loosely believe versus saying it out loud into a room, a virtual room with people who are going through similar things, and you being able to give feedback in the moment about that with lots of love and grace and understanding that you can take it or leave it, right? But like from where we are, this is kind of what we see. You're also free not to just say, I just want to say this, but I don't necessarily need feedback. Like, I think we're really open minded and fluid when it comes to that. But I started it maybe last month or something, maybe 2 months ago. I don't know. We've had maybe four. So I guess this is the second month. But anyway, so if you are interested, we do that every other week. We just get together. You can have your camera off if you want. You don't have to have it on because I know how we are. And we just talk about what's going on. I think it helps quite a bit to have something with a bit of depth, not too deep, but like a bit of depth so that you can do what you need to do. Something that we talked about. Today is Saturday, so it was just Thursday that we had this. Something that came up a couple of times with a couple of different ladies in the group was that, you know, they wanted to be beautiful. You want to pop out with a fully formed whatever presented to the world. And that's just not the reality. It's messy out here. Look at my last two videos, probably the last three. I got so disgusted that I didn't even check. But my audio is popping out of control. Every time I talk, it's like tick, 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 tick. And I got in my feels about it because I hate producing stuff like that. Like, I want to produce better content, but that's just the reality of what had happened. And so sometimes it's nasty out here, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to show up today. That doesn't mean I'm not going to try and fix the issue now that I'm aware of it. You know, it's just so much grace we have to give ourselves to get this thing the way we want it. I could show you some design stuff that I did back in the day, and I look now and cringe. It's all just part of the flow. You're not going to get to the good stuff until you get through whatever it is. And we're learning so much on the fly. On the fly. It's not like a lot of us have time and space to actually like really get into, you know, the principles of design and color schemes, or, you know, producing content. And you just put your hours in, you just put your work in and try to enjoy it as much as you can, you know. Yeah, but just grace. So you're welcome to join us. It's the Black Women Digital Nomad Entrepreneurs Group. There's a link in the description of this video. But yeah, and you got to talk nice to yourself. I think we're so hard on ourselves. You just got to talk nice to yourself. Like, not you making breakfast. Not you going to the bathroom when you actually got to go to the bathroom instead of holding it for 45 hours. You know, it's just, you got to be your own hype girl. Like I was saying earlier, speaking over your life. Like, you know what? I came through. I showed up today. I sat down for 1 hour and I was focused during that hour. You know what? I let myself rest. And now because I've let myself rest, then I'm able to show up more fully for whatever it is I got to do. You know what? Whatever is good. That's so much of the practice of gratitude that a lot of us have, is being able to see the good stuff, because our brains are just going to recycle all that old junk over and over. It's like if you put a toaster in a drying machine, the dryer, it's just bumping around loud. Girl, take the toaster out and do what you got to do. Make that thing quiet and just get into the good. Because think about what you create when you're in a good mood. You create dope stuff. You listening to your music. You got your scissor on, or whoever, I don't know. But you know, you're hype. You're in a zone. You're doing what you got to do. You feeling yourself. You're feeling the mission. You're making it work. So just try that. Try to love on yourself some and let yourself experience this. Tynesha said it could be simple. A simple thing that found an IG live together. Yeah. IG live, YouTube live, wherever. Come to the co-working, it's helpful. Some people don't mind working for free. Some people don't, but does that mean they should? I want so much. And, you know, even though I was able to pay the speakers from last year, I wish I could have paid them more. But I'm happy that I was able to pay them something, right? I just don't want people to work for free. Like, we've been working for free for hundreds of years. Like, we off that. But maybe I need to reframe some things or add some value or something so that I feel like they're really getting something out of the arrangement or whatever. I got to think about that. Angela said, popping audio or not, you still produce really great content, and I still listen to the entire thing. Thank you, girl. That's what Tarnisha said too. She was like, I was gonna DM you, girl. But I mean, that content is popping. Thank you very much. I received that. See how good we are at getting and taking compliments? I received that. I'll see you guys in the next one for sure. I'm learning grace, but it's always harder on myself than others. like sleeping in this AM. My ex had to tell me, don't feel bad about it. I deserve it. Girl, sleep. Please sleep. Believe in the wisdom of your body. I'm telling you, every time I take a nap and I wake up, I'm ready to do, a few more things. This is also very intense, right? You're using parts of your brain, every corner, you scraping out, all the cobwebs. You're creating something from your very imagination, how you want it to look. You're also trying to take out the stuff, that was put on you about who you are and how business should look and all this other stuff. We are doing quite a bit of work before we even get to the laptop. A lot of it is up here. A lot of it is in here in our hearts. So rest, absolutely. I talk about my little tagline is embrace wholeness, travel better, longer, and make money online. Embrace wholeness is the first. Because if you arrive and you all cut up, right? We want you to arrive whole. We want you to arrive rejuvenated and exhilarated and with more pieces of yourself than you've ever had in your previous life before you even started trying to do this thing. We want you there embodied, right? So think about that in showing, like, arriving raggedy. It's like, ooh, girl. Maybe the tread on your shoes is gone and ooh, I need some water. So yeah, that's a nice ex. I don't talk to none of them that I ever dealt with. That's a nice ex. Stacey Ann said the creative process is messy. Sometimes I need to get all the feels out before I can surrender the process. I posted about that recently. I was just like, I was in my feels heavy. The crying and I've been crying a lot this week. I think this was last week though. But anyway, I wasn't crying. I was angsty. I was crying this week, but when I was dealing with this, I was angsty. I was just like, and then I was finally able to move through it, to sit down, and like the work just kind of slipped out. Like it wasn't even a conscious, like, you got to do this thing. It was just like, oh, it's time now. Like, all right, we'll rock it. And it was like, you went through all of that. And sometimes, yeah, you go through all of that. So angsty. So like, why am I feeling like this? What to do? I agree, Angela. I've been watching her videos and I go, thank you, girl. That's so nice to meet. All right, loves, darlings. I'm always here. So if there's something I can do to assist, just let me know. I didn't see any links. I invited you to share your links. And I feel like y'all are smalling yourselves up. What's that about? Are we practicing or what's good? Where are the links? Y'all got YouTube channels? What y'all got? Y'all got something? Come on. Lots of ugly tears this week just to record a 4-minute video for you. Girl, the tears were ugly. Ugh. Very ugly. But I haven't cried like that in a long time. I tell you what broke it was an interview I did, and the way the lady shared it, she was like, I'm not going to say her name because I'm not messy, but it hurt me so bad. She was like, I was on a travel podcast, and though we didn't talk about travel or something like that, and I'm just like, oh, no, you didn't. I had to really reel myself in. So what I did was tapped into my higher self or whatever. But I was like, while honoring how you chose to share this, I also honor myself and say that, blah, 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 blah. I'm happy for the Black women and girls who, put their work out into the world, not knowing how people are going to receive it, or, something hoteppy or whatever it was. What's Whatever, however I phrased it, but that got me because I haven't really cried in a long time. And I definitely cried when I read that. I was like, she doesn't get my work. I spent all this time with her. And the other thing that bit too was like in our exchanges, she was like totally polite. So like this really came out of left for me when she was in front of her people talking about what we were doing, the way that she was talking about it. Ugh. So I definitely, and then I guess I just haven't stopped crying since then. That's what it feel like anyway. Ugh. I got my pen ready for y'all. Y'all still not doing it. I don't believe this. Where are the links? Come on, y'all. Even if you don't have your product, I know how y'all are. Come on, y'all. You have people who get you, who are wanting to support you. So let's support each other. Even if you don't have your product and your service totally together, even if you're rebranding, even if whatever, just, we're practicing receiving what it is that we want, right? Thank you, Tanisha. Way to take the high road, girl. Something like that. You shared yours. I didn't see yours, Tanisha. Let me scroll. I don't see yours, boo. Maybe I missed it. All right, y'all. Guess y'all being shy today. Yeah, where? I didn't see it. I verbally said it, but you can type it in les comments. That's French for the comments. I shared website, Patreon, and IG. We don't see it, boo. Maybe YouTube blocked it. Oh, maybe. Oh, maybe y'all are sharing, but it's blocked. Okay. Well, maybe we can do it in the group then. Yeah, I don't see it either, Angela. Maybe we could do it in the group. If y'all are in the group, I think all of y'all are, then yeah, we'll just make a post and share. Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. Make a like let's support each other on IG or something like that. I don't know. It's my name on yes, just Tanisha Matthews. Okay, my darlings. Well, I'm about to roll up out of here. I think we've said all the things that could be said today. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your support. I hope that the words I said helps you to see yourself, see your situation, maybe from a different perspective, maybe add a little spice to your life, a little entertainment. And I'll see y'all in the internet streets. I'm going to go straight to the Facebook group right now. So just change the dial. I don't know how to say it, but thank you very much. And I will see y'all super soon. Bye.